Okay, please, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, what I briefly was trying to put across that my cover page of the presentation is giving us pictures showing the materials which are expected to be given to the children, of course, when they're going back to school. And I tried to also flash back and look at our children when they walk to school. As you see, they hold themselves together because there's an instruction. Don't leave your little sibling. Don't leave your sibling as you are walking to school. So they hold one another. Now we are in the back to school post-COVID arena, and we are in the post-COVID pandemic. The question is, will this still happen? Now, I wanted us also to know what is the scope of my presentation. I'm looking at the operational terms. I'm looking at the key facts: violence against children, children's rights and responsibility, children with special needs, social and mental well-being, continuity of learning, and financial literacy. Of course, the pictures here again are showing us that the classes are missing them. The classes, remember, March 20th, 2020 or 2020, the way they used to call it, the classes had them, but now they are empty. You can see the benches, they are all empty, they are missing them. However, we also have the children who don't sit in class, but learning continues to take place. And the teachers provide the children with slates to support the learning. The operation terms that I want to share, the first one is the pre-primary. The pre-primary, we also call it early childhood development. Today, we are even, have already reviewed the policy, and we are yet looking forward to have it approved. The word now will be early childhood care and education. But what is all about pre-primary? It refers to children who attend nursery school. And the nursery school has a complete cycle: baby, middle, and top. And by the Education Act 2008, children join when they are 2 years, and they are supposed to exit when they are 5 years. All this is under the umbrella of basic education. Primary. Primary has lower primary, primary 1 to primary 3. And by policy, children are supposed to join when they are 6 years old, after they have undergone the pre-primary. Some of us call lower primary thematic, that thematic classes, and others call it local language. Are you talking about the local language classes? As if it is really a crime. It isn't. So the cycle from primary starts at lower, then it moves to the transition class, which is primary 4. Then it moves to the upper primary, which is primary 5 to primary 7. So the pre-primary and primary constitute the basic education. And what is all about basic education? It refers to the minimum education package of learning made available to each individual. And they undergo this through either the formal system, which I've talked about, and they also undergo the non-formal education system. And which is this non-formal education system? We are looking at children who are like aged school-going children, but their time of joining at the formal level passed, but they still have to go for education. So they go in for these programs today, which we have already put in place, which we call the accelerated education program. They are in 3 levels. Level 1 has the accelerated package for P1 to P3, and then it has the level 2, which has got the accelerated content of primary 4 to primary 5, then level 3, which has got the accelerated content of primary 6 to primary 7. So when they are done, they can always join the system, the senior one now, and continue. Now, our presentation is basically on basic education, and now basic education is now telling us and showing us that under the umbrella, we have the pre-primary and primary. Which are these key facts that I want to share? March ending 2020, Uganda became part of the befallen countries within COVID-19. And of course, 15 million children, we are affected by the closure of schools. And of course, the closure of schools has caused some disruption to education, which has resulted in poor nutrition, stress, increased exposure to violence, the exploitation. We have had and seen a lot of incidences that have taken place around this. The media is all talking about the childhood pregnancies and of most the overall mental disturbance today. There's a lot of mental disturbance. And to bear being witness, when you go to Butabika here, they can really tell you what is happening. They are even saying they have no space where to put the patients who are suffering from their mental issues. Some of these key facts are indeed true, and somewhere let us share. Oregon Life News posted something on August 20th, 2020, and they were telling us how they have headed on with back to school. In UK, the K-12 year schools have reopened. Largest urban districts are starting remotely. Others are face-to-face, meaning they face their teachers in the classroom with their other fellow children. Others, they are still doing it remotely. That is like homeschooling. In Japan, some schools are reopened, I think last Monday. In China, 208 million Chinese students, roughly 75%, have returned to class, and the rest are expected by September. In the Philippines, some are set to reopen. Only remote learning classes are going to be allowed. Face-to-face will be only when a vaccine is available. And that is what is happening in the Philippines. In Germany, most students are ready back to school. And Germany is determined not to close schools, although COVID-19 is on high break. In France, they are ready to give free laptops in case of lockdown. Remember, our topic is back to school. They are sending 12.9 million students back to their classrooms, although there is some, despite the sharp increase in infections. In Spain, they have a mix of online and in-class teaching. They are making shift classrooms in schoolyards, meaning that children don't go in their rooms, they are in the yards, and that's where they get their learning. In Africa, what is it about? Only 6 countries have fully opened. In South Africa, children are returning class by class. Government has allowed parents who don't want their children to return to school to apply for homeschooling. That's what they have done there. In Kenya, I think they have closed. They have closed the rest of 2020 unless something happens now. In Morocco, I heard this morning, they again closed the schools due to the severe outbreak. In our Uganda, we are planning and we are looking forward and we are praying to have the schools open, most especially the candidate classes. And even institutions of higher learning, the eyes on those who are undergoing the courses in dental, for example. Now, what is it about the violence against children? What is child abuse? Those pictures, I'm not going to read the words which are under them, but I believe you can look at those sentences under them, the captions, they will address most of the issues. Today we are observing our children are at home. There is a lot of violence taking place. And we are experiencing our children undergoing severe injuries somewhere because of the depressions by parents. Even the children themselves are fed up. And they are even forgetting that there are laws of violence against children. Now, most of them are saying, please, please, back to school now, back to school, back to school, back to school. You can imagine. Today, something is running on the media. One of the boys, he said, let me kill myself and let it be a gift for my mother as she celebrates a birthday. Oh no, oh no. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Wouldn't like to have such kind of, because the boy had his, he had his inner feelings. There was something the mother told him and it hurt him. So he said, okay, if that's the case, let me take this decision. What about the child rights and responsibilities? Children have the right and responsibility of a number of things. But then, what about with the parents? How have we supported them? Somewhere, someone was sharing with me that much as you have put for us radio programs, with me, my radio, I just use it for my music and I use it when I'm in the garden. And when I'm in the garden, I put it up in the branches. And when it's time to listen to some news, maybe I put it down, but I don't want my child to touch my radio. Can you imagine? Child rights and responsibility. What can we do to support our children so that they're able to go back to school? Some of the answers are reflected on the slide. Continuity of learning. If the children are going to go back to school, we have to start early to talk to them. Today, our children, according to the routine at home, they are oversleeping. I just didn't mention it under violence against children. Our children have grown big. Some have they have developed deep voices. They are even feeling now they are gentlemen and ladies. True or false? The children have changed. Even the wares they are putting on are no longer fitting them. Today, when they go to sleep, they want to wake up at around 10. Even if you ask them, have you done any reading? They are showing you they are tired. We have to keep talking to them. We have to start the conversation. If we are having our children going back to school, this is the time now. Start talking about it in a friendly manner. Try to get, what are they saying about going back to school? Of course, they are saying they are missing their friends. They are missing their teachers. They are missing the fun. They are missing the jokes. Now, with the continuity of learning, how are we preparing them? Because this time around, everything is going to change. The homeschooling. You can see in that picture there, how the father is fully engaged in supporting the children at home, but how many are doing it, by the way? Maybe he's not a father, he's a grandpa. You never know. But today, the government, the National Information Technology Authority of Uganda, has promoted a free of charge, easy to use digital learning platform to support the digitalized learning and the content for the primary school learners. It's there. And if we are looking at homeschooling, it has come to stay, much as children will go back to school. Because somewhere, the children may fall sick and may not go back to school. Remember, the child will be told, if you have developed flu, you keep home. So do you see how homeschooling is going to keep on? The government has embarked on the procurement process of at least 9 million radio sets to be given to every household and 137,466 solar-powered television sets to villages across the country. And that is the source is Observer, August 19th, 2020. These children you see in the picture, some of them are in the refugee camps and some non-government organizations have supported them. Oh dear. They are watching a program, a lesson taking place on a television. Though for you and me, I don't see it. But that is what was happening. Continuity of learning, back to school. We are looking at the e-learning. Some organizations have supported by providing these children with tablets where they already digitalized the programs. Do you see this other young boy? He's listening to the lesson because at National Curriculum Development Center, we have endeavored to develop radio scripts with good packages. We have packaged them very well, working together with the Ministry of Education and Sports. So these radios, these programs are running. We have even recorded on the videos, those who are able to see. We have even gone ahead to have them inclusive. We have a specialist in charge of special needs, a very big team that has also, adapted the materials to support both the back to school, the continuity of learning, and homeschooling. How are you preparing your child to return to school? Do you see in that picture how these children are already dressed with their masks? Do you know the fun? At first, I think on the first day, I'm guessing it might be even a fun. They will be sharing the masks. Oh my God. They are going to be sharing masks. But the parent, what is your role? Is to start talking. Make yourself available as much as possible. Talk to the child about how they are feeling. Talk about the new school routine, because maybe the school routine might be in shifts. In the morning will be a certain class. Then from maybe midday to around 2 or 3, another group will come. And remember, you have to remind your child of the COVID preventive measures. Hello, listeners, are we together? Remind on the symptoms and how it spreads. We have always been talking about the elbow. Maybe they may not know about the fever, but they may not know about the shortness of the breath. How are you supporting the child? Do you know today, some children are still not understanding what is COVID-19. Even the parents themselves, by the way. But some of the youth have turned it into fun. When they go to the salon, do you know the fashion they ask for? I want this fashion of COVID. So they plait their hair and the hair appears like COVID. I missed that picture. We are going to share it. The cloth face coverings, you can see how beautiful these are. But at the end of the day, each one of them will say, let us share. And what else are they not observing? The social distance. Haven't we been talking about the social distance? Is it observed? The parent has got to remind. The child will say, why not social distance? I want to be near my friend whom I've taken long without knowing how she is. Back to school. Some of the actions to take and to consider. You can see, I tried to get a picture of the temperature gun. Will some of us manage to buy the temperature gun, by the way? Yes, the school may have the temperature gun, but you at home, remember, you have to check your child each morning for signs of illness. Maybe we shall use our local style of checking the temperature. You come and I want to touch and feel if you are, I want to feel your temperature. But will you be able to tell whether it is 100.4 degrees or higher so that the child is able to go to school? But the child will say, me, I want to go to school. Now they told us we have to be at school. I want to go to school. Me, I'm not feeling anything you are telling me about. How are you intervening? So that she's also not mentally disturbed, being stopped from going. We are looking at how can we continue reminding them to wash their hands. Some of them say, you always tell us to wash our hands. Are we going to eat food? Then the parent will also say, do you know how much money I'm spending to buy water? You wash your hands once when you are going to eat, or you wash your hands maybe twice so that water is not so much wasted. They think it's wasting water. Remember, the child is going back to school. We have the mental and social well-being. At school, we shall experience children maybe lining up to enter the rooms, but there will be social distance. Talk to your child about how the school will look different. The desks are going to be apart. there will be that kind of behavior change. Remember, there will be that the children will call playing. They have to play their football, which they used to play in the playground. Will there be playing? All this is what one has to find out as we go back to school. How do we support the children now with the special educational needs on going back to school? You see how excited they are programmed. The way the other one without special needs understands the program may not be the same way this other one understand. So the parent also has to be ready to talk to the child about the changes as regards to the COVID-19, as regards to the back to school, what is standing and what is not standing. I come to the financial literacy. The parents, we shall be challenged. How will I pay fees without risking the spread of COVID? These are tough times. What if I don't have money to pay all my school fees? Remember, some of the children broke off before the parents had completed the fees. The schools were left in deficits. Are we ready to pay are we ready to pay back the money? Are we ready to clear the debts? How are we ready? If you need to pay school fees, at school they will say, no, you take your money to the bank. The bank will say, no, we are limiting people who are entering here. Do you see how now? How we need the financial literacy to prepare for the back to school? Some of the activities which children are engaged in is something I want to share with you. Remember, today, most of the children are thinking have already engaged themselves in the income generating. Some of them are even saying, me, I will not go back to school. What are they saying? After all, they have even invited the candidates. But we are still emphasizing continuity of learning. Look here, those are some of them. Those who pass by, maybe for example, around Kalerwi, don't you find them? They already know business. What about that one? The parent says, can you ferry these baskets of bananas and come back with empty baskets? Who are them? Some of them are even using uniforms. I have intercepted with some of them somewhere around Kalero and asked them, how much as you are involved in this business, will you go back to school? They said, yes, mukadde tujja kuddayo katusoke tukole ku ssente. I'm quoting. There you are. Some of them are there, mining. Now, this is the time the parents should start now to change the gear of the mindset to have their child back, because even some of them don't remember where they left their books. If they got self-study materials, they said, after all, even some of us never got. Even if they got, they don't want. But some of them say, I'm quoting what these children are now. They have high vocabulary, which can really surprise you. Are they going back to school? We make them go back to school. They're using e-payment. Now, parents, the coronavirus is spreading. How are we getting ourselves used to the mobile money agent banking, the school pay, and other options? Is it well? Will our children be able to again be happy as these ones? Look at these ones lining up. They are first saying their prayer, then they are going for their break. It has been happening. Will it happen? Back to school. Are you ready to take the child back to school? There you are. Some are waiting for the bus to take them all. Today they are saying, if you in the vessel, the taxis, how are we moving? We have to start thinking now of taking our children back to school. Remember, returning to school during COVID-19 pandemic may not feel like normal, at least for a while. But whatever form school takes, it will require everyone's support to make sure that it is healthy, safe, equitable for students, for teachers, for staff, and families. I want to acknowledge the management of Magera Rotary Club and all the members have been being mentioned. I want to thank National Curriculum Development Center for permitting me to share with you, and all of you who have participated with me during the progress of the presentation. Any additions are welcome. Thank you very much. I submit.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Deborah, thank you so much.
Yes, please.
What a presentation. A wonderful presentation it has been. And you've left it to us, parents.
Yes.
Parents, how are you preparing your children to return to school after this, post-COVID? It is a challenge indeed, and it is a challenging time for all of us, because if adults fail to observe the SOPs, what about the little children? May God help us. I now hand over to Rotarian Nakabali to moderate the Q&A session. Over to you, Rotarian Nakabali.
Yes, thank you so much, OP Sarah. And thank you so much, Madam Deborah, for that powerful presentation. So without wasting time, we have seen questions from several Rotarians. A question, the first one was from Rotarian Nachitende Nur from the RC Muyenga. So it goes by pre-primary or preschool is very predominant in urban areas, and they are mushrooming. We called it emergence, but it was meaning mushrooming, was to allow non-stay-home parents get work. Therefore, Deborah, do you think they are practical in rural communities where parents hustle to satisfy basic needs? That was a question from Rotarian Nachitende Nur. Now another question from Rotarian Norbert, all the way from Denmark, is from RC Kampala Wandagea. He's asking, won't opening candidate classes while other classes remain closed cause a challenge next year? What is your opinion on this? And next one, this is a vote of thanks from Rotarian PP, Helen Sari from RC Wandagea. I think he wanted to give a small thank you, saying that it was a very powerful presentation. Thank you for sharing. But he went ahead to give a question. He said, he was asking, social distancing will bring about increased costs like it's with public transport. Already some schools were overcharging parents. Will school be affordable? What will it be like? Another question from Rotarian Brittany Mwebaze. Are you ready to take your children back to school? It is rhetorical question you can't overlook. Another vote of thanks from Rotarian Jennifer Mbona.
No, can we handle the questions first, please? There is also Patrick Ahimbisi with hand up. Let us first handle the questions. And I think let us take 3 or 4. Deborah responds, then we pick others. Is that okay, Deborah? Yeah.
Yes, fine, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, President. Yeah. Can I come in now?
Yes, come in, Deborah.
Some of them, okay. Thank you very much for the observations you have submitted. And indeed, I appreciate what you have shared with me so far out of what you have raised. In particular, I'll be answering some of them, and some of them, of course, I cannot go into them into depth because some of these are really top management decisions. And as you know very well, because for example, the question of opening for candidates, this is quite a big question, which I cannot really add so much because up to now, we are still waiting for our Excellency, the President, to really say, yeah, let's open up for the candidates, much as it was put in the newspapers yesterday, and much as it has been moving here and there on the media, we are still waiting. So me and you, we still have the waiting. But as we wait, how prepared are we? How are we preparing our children back to school? Of course, our children have got to go back to school. Of course, not only to me, not only the candidates, because each class is a candidate. When it comes to the end of year, the children are supposed to be promoted from one class to another, you know, and all these are candidates. I remember, if I'm to quote one of the politicians who raised that, said, what about the nursery children, the top class? Aren't they candidates? So that was also his observation. But for now, really, about the opening, just only for candidates, what's my opinion? I don't want to say much about it because this is yet still something waiting on the desk. We are waiting. We are actually waiting. But as we wait, we also have to have plan B if ABCD is being told to us. The other question was, do you think having pre-primary or early learning centers, maybe name them the nursery schools, are they practical to have them in the rural? Oh yes, they are practical. All these children need the education. They need the foundation. These children have got to be exposed so that they are being developed holistically. No need of develop. Why do we develop only those in the urban really? We have to look at all of them because they all need it. The holistic development, which addresses the social, the emotional, the physical, the cognitive. All these are aspects which these children need. So it is practical. And a good thing, what is in place already, Ministry of Education and Sports put in place the guidelines to establish these centers so that they measure up. There's a very good designated curriculum which the teachers are supposed to follow. The teachers are also trained. The institutions where these teachers are trained are affiliated to institutions that are registered and recognized by National Council for Higher Education. So everything is actually streamlined. So we don't see why we don't really have early learning centers across the country. And we are urging everyone and even an investor to take it on because we need these children really to be supported in building their foundation. About the issue of social distancing, of course, we are still observing and following the measures put up, the SOPs, the standard operational procedures. We are still observing them, which are set up by Ministry of Health. We cannot, of course, omit them. We have to follow them, whether we like it or not. And we are still waiting. What have the schools prepared on taking back the children? Are they going to pick them? How are they supporting parents who are not able to transport children in their private cars? All this we shall be waiting. But as we wait, it doesn't stop us from thinking about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Now we had a hand from Rotarian Patrick Ahimbisiwe from RC Naguru. Over to you, Patrick. If Patrick is not coming in, can we give this opportunity to Naomi from RC?
Thank you so much, Chair. I want to appreciate the presenter, Deborah, for that elaborate sharing which is really very good, eye-opening to us, the parents and all stakeholders. And I want to just compliment and maybe ask a few questions. One, I appreciate the reality that Uganda has about 15 million children. And when we compare this to other countries that are already reopening, we realize that there is quite a lot that Uganda still has to do in order to meet some of those standards, because others, as you say, there are about 300 children in P1 and there is only one classroom. How do we handle this? So it's really, really a lot of planning needed for us as key stakeholders in the country, but I appreciate the fact that we need to talk to children as parents. The other one is on the plans for reopening. As you highlighted, yes, the last 3 months, this has been going on, discussions have been going on, and now that they are kind of settling up on candidate classes opening up, my worry and concern is that when these candidate classes reopen and students sit exams, P7, Senior 4, Senior 6, and universities, those students are going to move to the next classes levels. And next year, won't we have a saturated system where we have 2 sets of Senior 1s, 2 sets of Senior 5s, and first years, and so forth? Really, it's a concern, although I appreciate that children need to go back to school this year. The other third question is on the curriculum. I know you're well placed. We had our year of new curriculum for lower level, lower secondary level, where Senior 1 started this year. But right now, as we all know, that curriculum needs more of action-oriented discussions rather than individual learning. Is CBC going to do any bit of curriculum revision or adjustment so that if we are going to have a few months of education in the coming months or so, it's going to be adaptive, or rather we're going to maintain the same curriculum as it is going forward? Then finally, your presentation is really so spot on and so great. My concern is, how much does NCDC really share this out? Because parents need to be prepared even before we prepare the students and the learners and the teachers. As we are now continuing to think about going back to school, this information needs to reach the hands of the larger, masses, the parents out there, so that they can. So how much are we doing this kind of popularization and sharing of
Yes.
such information so that
I think Deborah, you can
Deborah,
handle.
before you respond, can
Yes.
we started 5 minutes late.
Yes.
Can we borrow some 10 minutes, Sergeant, so that we conclude the fellowship?
Yes, please, you can. Yes, please.
Thank you, Sergeant. Over to you, Deborah. Please respond to the question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Actually, I thank you now, my sister. I'm happy to also to hear from you. It's quite a long time. Now you are lost, but I'm happy to hear from you today. I'm thanking God for that. I thank you, Naume, for the compliments, and I thank you for the additions you've made to the presentation. Of course, most of them have been like their additions to the presentation, and it was like one question, which is for lower secondary. And I would like to let you know that programs have been on, teachers have been trained, they are training teachers here and there, and trying to give support on how they can go about the lower secondary level curriculum. And at the same time, we are hoping that maybe when there will be another kind of gathering fellowship like this one, then we shall have opportunity to know more about the lower secondary curriculum. Because for now, we are actually looking at the basic education. But just for information, it's that trainings have been on supporting the teachers. In fact, they have just completed the master training of the teachers to guide them on how they can go about the lower secondary curriculum. What is the NCDC doing to prepare the parents? We have already actually come up with a package called Parent Education Curriculum Framework for Uganda, the Facilitator's Guide. And we have just put off our hands from the document called Implementation Guidelines to the Parent Education Framework. And we are again saying that we still have to sit on the table and see with whom can we partner with to see how we can support the parents on being able to prepare the children to be ready to go back to school. And now I would love if we can really team up and we discuss further on this matter. I shall be grateful. And I'll be sharing your submissions with the management about this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. I think all the questions are done in the chat room. Only we have compliments now from PAG, some Siona. We have another compliment from Rotarian Mbona, and another one from Rose Kajumba. So over to you, President Opi Sala.
Thank you, Rotarian Nakabale, for taking us through the Q&A. And at this juncture, I request, just a minute. I request Rotarian Ian Mugisha to pass a vote of thanks to our guest speaker. Over to you, Ian. Ian, are you with us? Rotarian Ian, are you with us?
Hello?
Hello, Ian?
Madam President Rotarian Ian, he seems not online. I've been checking. But let me take this opportunity on behalf of our body group to thank Madam Debbie Kazze for the great presentation she has made today. And I feel like I'm now one of the directors of the schools in my home. This presentation has really opened our ears, and we are ready to proceed with the advice. It's challenging, but we need to change the advice being given to our children on how to live the back to school era. I wish to thank Madam Deborah for the good presentation, and we thank you very much, and we hope to have a soft copy of that presentation, maybe on our emails, so that we continue reminding ourselves on what you presented to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rotarian Nakabale. And can I request all of us to unmute our microphones and give Deborah a big, big clap for the wonderful presentation.
Thank you, Deborah, for your presentation.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you for appreciating and thank you so much, and thank you for the platform.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I now call upon the Sergeant Stella Davis to give us the roll call of clubs and the statistics. Stella, over to you, dear.
Thank you. Thank you, President. Today we had an attendance of 42 Rotarians, of which our members have been 20, which is a very good show. Now, as for the club that attended with us, they run as follows: a Rotary Club of Namasuba, Rotary Club of Sese, Rotary Club of Kisugu Lake Victoria, Rotary Club of Kampala Early Bird, Rotary Club of Nyenga, Rotary Club of Mukono Central, Rotary Club of Nansana, Rotary Club of Bweyogerere, Rotary Club of Nkumba, Rotary Club of Mitiana, Rotary Club of Bulindo, Rotary Club of Kyambogo, Rotary Club of Kampala South, and Rotary Club of Naguru. We also have had one Rotary Club of Kampala West. We had two guests today, Debbie and Okia Charles. And
Rotary Club of Port Vale.
Port Vale? Sorry, I didn't see that one.
And the Rotary Club of Uganda Global.
Port Vale. Uganda Global?
Yes.
Yes, Rotary Club of Uganda Global.
Represented by the Opportunity President, Rosette. Thank you for joining us, Rosette.
You're welcome, Sarah.
And the Rotary Club of Magera Central.
Which one?
Magera Central. Yes.
I hope, Sergeant, you are taking note of that.
I have.
But thank you all for joining us, fellow Rotarians. And let me give a few minutes to the Polio Plus officer to come in and tell us how far he has gone with the Polio Plus collections. And after him, I'll give a minute or two to the project chair, Kazze. Then after that, we shall conclude with the final toast by P.E. Stephen Tebiasa. Over to you, Evarist.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Dear members, I've been checking on the Polio Plus, and this morning I also discussed with the treasurer on how we should proceed. Remember, in one of our meetings, we said that each one of us contributes 60,000 the Polio Plus. As I was going through the records, about 3 people who have contributed so far, and we are reminding all of you really to start contributing. When I talked to the treasurer, I said most of the emphasis had been put on membership, making annual subscriptions, but we should also start on Polio Plus. And the number that you're supposed to contribute directly is being shown on the screen. It is 0772 402 626. Please, members, contribute and indicate the reason when you send money to that number. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you, Rotarian Evarist, for that update. And now over to the project chair, Kazze.
Thank you very much, President. As you started the fellowship, the Rotary Club of Kampala Wandegeya joined the Rotarian Malaria Partners Uganda chapter and had the sensitization campaign for malaria in Katanga. That Katanga is one of the slums in the city, one of the biggest slums in the city. On Saturday, 6th of September, at Jack and Jill Nursery School. President, we after there toured the Katanga area in an effort to make a needs assessment of how we will partner with the Rotarian Malaria Partner to support them by giving them mosquito nets, spraying, and other things that can avoid the spread of malaria and eradicate malaria in the slums. President, I want to say that we are so grateful for every straw that we contribute because we are able to pull up this activity because of the contributions from the Rotarians and members of the club using the happy straw. And we appreciate all those who participated, who contributed, and those who are supportive in one way or another. Thank you very much, President.
Thank you, Kazze, for that update. And let me once again appreciate all Rotarians and visitors who have joined us this evening. The PAGs, Sam Siona, PAG Emily, PAG Were, the PPs, my fellow OPs who turned up in big numbers, OP Geoffrey Nansana, OP Godfrey, Kampala Alibat, OP Jalia all the way from Mitiana, OP Alice Buloba, OP Jonathan Mukono Central, OP Dan Chiplagat Nkumba, OP Margaret Natete, OP Alexis RC Kampala Sese, OP Rosette E-Club Uganda Global, OP George William Musisi, that is the CP William George Musisi, OP Susan Samla, CP George is from RC Bulindo, and OP Edgar from Kyambogo. We can't take your being with us for granted. Thank you so much for joining us. And please join us again. We shall also endeavor to attend your fellowship. And all other Rotarians, our dear guests, Henry Chitaka, engineer, I've seen you. And Okia Charles, and all other guests who didn't register as guests. I'm sure you are there. Thank you so much for joining us. And in a particular way, I thank Rotarian Norbert, who is based in Denmark, who always ensures that we are online and who is behind this webinar. We are so indebted to you, Rotarian Norbert. We can't thank you enough. Thank you for loving the club and keep on supporting us. Have a wonderful evening, all of you, and please enjoy the week and all other fellowships which are following in the week. Let us have the final toast by P.E. Stephen Tebiasa.
Yes.
Over to you, Engineer Tebiasa.
Hello, Engineer Tebiasa. Yes, final toast, sir. Rotary the word over.